Now let us write the code to move the pieces from this puzzle container to piece container once this start button is clicked. So how we can do that? We can collect all the div elements within this puzzle container and set some random positions for each of these pieces within this piece container. Okay. So first let me set the position to be relative for this piece container, and once we set the position for these pieces to be absolute and also set random position for the left and top values, then these pieces will be moved from here to here. So let us write the code for that. So this should be done on the click of the btn start button, right? Let me remove this console.log. Okay. And here let me write $btn start dot click. Within this we need to write function, open and close parenthesis, open and close curly braces, and here first let me collect the pieces into a string variable. So where pieces equals, from where we can get it, $puzzle container div, which means all the child div elements within this element with id puzzle container. Then let me run an each method, pieces dot each function, open and close parenthesis, open and close curly braces. Let me put a semicolon here. And here what we can do, we can actually create some random numbers for the left and top values, and those values can be set as the left and top of the pieces, right? So let me specify where left or left position equals, I'm using math.random method, math.random into, I'm going to multiply the values by 290. Why? Because this will be a value between 0 and 1, a decimal value, and the width required for each piece is 108 px, which we have discussed in the previous lecture. So the total width and height of the piece container is 408 px. Suppose I specify 350 here. What will happen? Suppose the math.random creates a value of 0.99, then it will be 350 into 1, which means the starting position, that is the starting left point, will be 350. So it will take 108 means 350 plus 108 is 458, which means it will be going out of the border of the piece container, right? Hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Suppose this piece is positioned at left 350, okay, as per the math.random function created value. Then the image will go out of this border. So to be on the safer side, actually this width is 108. So we can set the value to be 300 if we want. In that case, it might touch the border if the value created is almost 1, that is 0.99 or 0.98. So to be on the safer side, I am setting 290 here, so that when even if it is multiplied, it will be within the border. And this can have decimals. So what I am going to do is that I am going to use math.floor so that it will be an integer. Okay. And let me also concatenate px here itself so that we can avoid confusion when we set the value. If you want, you can concatenate px when we set the CSS values. I'm doing it here itself. Then for where top position, we again have to do the same, right? Because the total height is also 408. So math.floor, then math.random into 290, then plus px. Then what should we do? These values should be set as the left and top values for our pieces. So here what I can specify, $this, which means the currently selected div element, dot CSS. What should be set? I need to set multiple values. That is, first I have to specify position to be absolute. Then what should be set? We need to set left to be, we have already made the value, that is the value along with px, so I can specify left position. Then top to be top position. So we have added position, left and top values for each of the pieces, that is for each of the div elements which we have collected from here. Next, what we need to do, these values should be appended to the piece container, right? So what we can do, $piece container dot append. What should be appended? We need to append $this. That is, this value should be appended within the piece container. As we are writing the code within this loop, that is each method, which is a loop. So each time after setting the CSS, it will be appended to the piece container. Now we have set the value of the child elements to be absolute. So for the piece container, we have to set the value of position to be relative so that the pieces will be within the piece container itself. So here for the piece container, let me set the value of position to be relative. Now let me save this and show you the output. Let me click the start button. See, the pieces are within the container and all those pieces have moved from here to here. Let me refresh, click start button. See, their positions have changed. Refresh, start. See, now they are getting displayed here. Refresh, start. See, they have moved like this. But one more thing we need to do is that even when the pieces have moved from here, we need to have the borders, that is 4 rows and 4 columns should be displayed. Then only the user will understand that these pieces should be moved to each location. So what we need to do for that, there should be pieces or the empty spaces there itself. So as we have done before, that is in the for loop, here we have run 2 loops to add the pieces. So here when we click the start button, we don't need to have any image, but we need to have the div elements with borders, right? So we can actually run this loop once again. Let me copy this. Okay. And within this button click itself, we need to do that. So this closing is of this. This is of each. So after this, I can again run the loop. And here, we don't need to have any style. What we need? We just need to have the class name. So let me remove this and div class piece / div, so that what will happen, it will be having the width and height, border, float left, and we can specify background image to be none for these elements, right? So what we can do, we can specify style equals background image to be none, right? So with this, no background image will be there, but the borders, width and height, etc. will be set. Let me save this and check the output. Let me click the start button. Okay, still we are not seeing the border. Why? Okay, we have just set the value of pieces. We have to set the HTML for the puzzle container. So I can specify $puzzle container .html to be the value pieces, right? Now let me save this. Let me refresh, click the start button. Okay, we are seeing object. Why? Let me close this. Let me just try to alert the value of pieces to see why we are seeing object there. Let me save this. Let me click start. Object div style background image to be none. Okay. Let me remove these top values and all because we don't need that, right? We don't have any image to be placed. So this left value can be removed. Then here also left can be removed. And also for this, let me use another variable named var empty string. Okay. And here instead of pieces, let me specify empty string. And here also empty string. You can name it as you want. Let me save this and check the output. Let me click object. Okay, now it is getting displayed correctly. If you want to avoid this confusion, actually we can create a function for making the pieces initially with the image and without the image. But here I'm doing it here itself. That is, here we just have to run the rows and columns loop and get the class name piece and set the value of background image to be none, because we just need the space to move these pieces and drop in there. So now we are done with the moving of the pieces. Next, what we need to do, we actually have to hide this button and display the reset button, right? So we can do that as well here. After this, we can write $this.hide, which means that the button will be hidden, right? $this is button here, because this is the ending of this button's click. So within that we are writing $this.hide, and here what I can write? I can write $#btn reset dot show. Just move to here, dot show, so that the reset button will be displayed and the start button will be hidden. Now let us check the output. Let me click the start button. Okay, I have to remove that alert message. See, they have moved to this container and the button is now reset, and we are seeing the space to move these pieces and drop it here. Next, what we need to do, we actually have to make these pieces draggable and these spaces droppable, and we have to add all those related events. We will do it in the next lecture.